crypto altcoins, how to find the perfect entry when buying altcoins to see the most profitable gains over the next few weeks and months ahead, as well as key indicators telling us exactly when to start taking profits on our altcoins. Right now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback in Bitcoin and the altcoins, which is absolutely normal, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly why that's happening and why we can expect the crypto market to continue to the upside in just the next 24 to 48 hours or so. Without further ado, hit the like button and let's get into today's video. Hey guys, and welcome to the School of Crypto. Unlike my main channel, the House of Crypto, over here we're much more focused towards day trading as well as tutorial based content on how to maximize your gains in crypto over the next 6 to 8 months of crypto bull market. If you like the idea of being able to increase your net worth in crypto, then make sure you hit the subscribe button with the notification bell turned on so that you don't miss another video. Now guys, before we dive in and find out more about how to find the very best entries into altcoins and when to start taking profits, let's just have a quick look at what's going on in the overall crypto market, because I know we've had a pullback today and I know people are having a little bit of a panic, but there's nothing to worry about. You see, the reason we're pulling back today is that Bitcoin is very closely following the global M2 money supply. We know this, right? The M2 money supply is the key behind all of this. It's basically a measure of all the money in people's pockets. Okay, the money that you've got available in bank accounts, the money that you've got in cash, the money that businesses have in terms of liquid assets that they can easily turn into cash. And this is all shown here. Bitcoin is very closely correlated. And you can see that in just the last couple of days, we've gone sideways. Then we've had this little dip, which is why we're seeing this dip happening today on the crypto charts. And there's a potential that into tomorrow, we do see a little bit more of downside playing out, but nothing really to worry about, because then we go into this big leg up phase. Every time we've seen these big leg ups before, it's correlated to big pushes in the Bitcoin price. You can see all of these here have indicated major moves for Bitcoin, and we can expect that to come in probably around Wednesday towards the end of this week. Okay, not necessarily directly to the day, but over the next few days to a week, we're going to see significant upside for Bitcoin, and then the altcoins are going to run along with it. But the good thing that we're seeing right now is Bitcoin's having a little bit of a pullback, and I'll show you the reason why that's happening. And this is effectively why we're seeing a pullback. This is coinglass.com, and it shows the leverage positions and the liquidity that sit on a Bitcoin chart. Just quickly think about this. When you're buying Bitcoin, ultimately the Bitcoin price will go up if lots of people buy it. But Bitcoin will go up even faster if everyone uses leverage and borrows money from the exchange to place a long trade. There's a problem though. If everybody places a long trade and then the price of Bitcoin just goes up and up forever, the exchange will lose a lot of money. So what they want to do is move the needle down into this liquidity to cash out as many traders as possible before moving the price higher. This right now, we're seeing liquidations take place to get rid of all of those over-leveraged people before the price can move higher. It's simple, and it happens a lot during bull markets. And I want you to remember that piece for later on when we're starting to identify places where we want to take profits in the future. Now, as I've said, the good news is that Bitcoin is having this pullback, and if you missed out on the best entries into altcoins a few weeks ago, don't worry, you're getting another bite of the cherry, not quite as good as that bite that we had on April the 7th if you were subscribed to the channel in the House of Crypto, but still a pretty good entry. And that's because, unsurprisingly, we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance pushing a little bit higher today as Bitcoin takes that little dip. But as I've alluded to before, this is running into the 50% zone and will start to move lower very, very soon, and we're going to see the altcoins igniting once again. So how do we find the best entries into altcoins? Now I'm going to select a few altcoins, okay? Nothing in particular, but you can apply these rules to whatever altcoins you're holding. First things first, I want you to think about this. You might have seen lots of people, probably far more experienced than you, definitely more experienced than me, talking about how high Bitcoin might go during this bull market ahead. You're probably hearing some people say 150k. You're probably hearing others say 300k. Others out there are saying 1 million. Guess what? These people who spend their entire life studying these markets can't identify where Bitcoin's going to go. That means that you should also not try and identify exactly how low Bitcoin or any altcoin's going to go during a dip, because the chances are that you're going to miss the bottom by trying to do it. And instead, you should just identify when there's good value on a coin versus poor value. When the market has been moving down, coins are going to be at better value. When they're moving up, the value becomes less good as the price moves higher. Let's say you wanted to buy an iPhone and it was in the shop today for $500. Tomorrow it goes up to $800. You wouldn't rush to the shop to go and buy it, so don't do it with altcoins. It is the same concept, okay? Same thing, if it goes higher, you get a less good entry. Now, just using one altcoin here, which is Grass, an altcoin that I personally am trying to get into and have been lucky enough to buy into it today after seeing this bit of a pullback going on. Now, whenever the market's going to have a pullback, we want to say to ourselves, are we at good value right now? Well, we know that Bitcoin is running into previous all-time highs and that the M2 money supply is going higher and higher and higher. The US interest rates are still very high, which tells us that it's not great economic conditions, but those interest rates will come down. On top of that, we know that we're going to see quantitative easing. We know that we're going to see more and more money printing throughout the year, and that Bitcoin will be worth a lot more at some point than it was in December. Since we know that the altcoins are probably at good value right now because lots of them have pulled back aggressively. Grass, you can see, back in December, went up to around $3.90, which means at $1.80, it's pretty good value. Now, since the market has been pumping in the last few days, we don't want to be buying in on these big green candles, but we're lucky enough now to see something playing out. In terms of where an altcoin might run up to and come back to, often it will go between lines of resistance and support. A line of resistance, you can see here, is where the price hits in before coming back down. Lots of previous lines of resistance here. Okay, this could be useful in future if you're wanting to take profits because often the price will turn around. These resistance lines could be years old. Okay, not in the case of Grass because it's a new coin, but ultimately, forevermore, it could find itself bouncing in and around this area. Now, here's something very key to know. This is resistance. This would be support, and previous areas of resistance flip into support. Vice versa, previous areas of a support often become resistance. So if Grass got up to here, there's a good chance it pulls back, and then it can come back to an area of support. Now, we're seeing this happen right now. If we look at the previous area of resistance that Grass was at, you would say it was here. You see, we had multiple hits here, we had another hit down here, and what Grass is now doing, having broken out of here, is now establishing this area as support, which means that Grass right now is at a fantastic entry point. Can it come down? Possibly. But we don't want to find the absolute bottom. Well, we obviously do, but we can't. We can't do that if we're just trying to find good value. This is a very good value, top level coin. I talked about this more in the House of Crypto video I made yesterday, if you want to understand why I'm so bullish on Grass. But you can see, right now, at this price, somewhere around, $1.84, $1.85, very happy to get into it. Previous resistance becomes future support, okay, and then we'll start to see a move like this. Now, if we go through other coins, we can see this happening time and time again. And here's another one. This is Cookie, okay? Now, let's just draw the previous resistance for Cookie. You can see price comes up into this area, it goes down. Price comes up into this area, it goes down, goes up, comes down, eventually it breaks through. And what does it do? Straight away, it turns that resistance into support, okay? So you can see the price is then held up here. It's now coming back into this zone. So Cookie, for example, at support levels is good value. And you can see Cookie previously was worth nearly 62 cents. It's now at 14 cents. It's a good value. It will come back up to those levels at some point in the future. If you're not a crypto expert, you don't spend hours and days researching charts and trying to understand exactly how they move, then don't try to behave like an expert, okay? Stop trying to get the perfect entry, because I guarantee by trying to get the perfect entry, you're going to be late. Right now, this is a good opportunity, for example, in Cookie as a strong project. Now, obviously, I'm not saying to invest in Grass or Cookie. I'm telling you to invest in strong projects. And over the past couple of videos, I've talked about how to find tools to do your own research, etc. But as long as you're investing in projects that actually are being used and utilized in strong narrative areas, you'll probably do much better, okay? But this is a best way to find your entries. That's the point of this video. Obviously, if you're subscribed, we will update you and add more and more details all the time. Now, this one we can see is Pengu again. We can see, coming across the chart, resistance. You want to look at where the most relevant resistance is. There's some here, okay, which you can see previous resistance became support. Now it's a little bit higher up, and you can see that Pengu doesn't necessarily give us a perfect entry right now, which means that maybe I don't want to get into this maybe I can find another one. If I'm desperate to get into Pengu, still you can see it's pretty good value compared to where it was. It will get up there at some point soon. MOG, a meme coin, same sort of thing. You can see this happens time and time again. Resistance comes back to resistance as support. And I am just picking these at random. Pretty much all coins that you can look at will have very similar things going on. Now this is Ethereum, and what you can see here is that Ethereum has kind of run to resistance, which was here, and then now it started breaking down into the area. Now what many YouTubers and people out there will tell you is that there's a price, a single price that is resistance to support, and if Ethereum breaks $2,510, it's going to go much higher. It doesn't work like that, okay? Resistance and support is an area. This is why I draw these big boxes, not just little lines, okay? So draw your boxes. Somewhere in this box is reasonable value. Obviously, Ethereum's gone up a lot recently, so it might not be as good, but you can see somewhere in this box is now retesting resistance. And we saw this happen yesterday. Let's just delete that trade there. This is obviously a trade that we still have open. If you entered into that trade or any other trade on this channel, all of my trades are still open, still mostly in profit. I believe Trump's still in the red, but we're good to go on that. Still lots of breathing room on that. Now we can see, you can see the price yesterday dipped all the way down here, found support, coming back down somewhere in this area. It's getting bought up. You can see buying pressure coming in, pushing the candles higher. And they're all doing this perfectly, okay? Bricken, again, gives you the previous resistance, comes back after breaking through to test a support. Aether doing something very, very similar right now. Previous resistance, coming back and testing a support. Get the picture, okay? This is very key for maybe getting some decent entries. If you are late to join, it's good to join and enter in on days like this rather on days when the whole market's pumping. And if you're newer to crypto, I urge you to understand what I'm saying. What everybody tends to do is wait until the market starts to pump and then rush in and try and buy the coins that have been pumping the most. This is one of the biggest errors you can make. Buy the coins that are good, strong coins that are having good, healthy dips. Just yesterday, grass was up like 16%. Today, it's down 14%. It's a far better purchase today with a 14% discount than it was yesterday with a 16% premium. Get what I'm saying? Now, knowing that previous resistance flips into support gives us good entries, we also now know that previous resistance can also mean that we might see a bounce back in price. So if I was looking to potentially take some profits, you could obviously think about taking some profits in and around these zones. It doesn't mean that the coin has to bounce back from there. It doesn't mean that the coin can't go higher. It just means that this might be a good point for you to consider taking some profits, particularly if you entered into grass, for example, down here. By the time you get up to this point, you're already 100% up. Here, 140%. Here, about 180% or 168%. Okay, so that's one easy way to identify when you might want to take an exit. Now, if you want to know more about which coins to be buying into rather than just the strategy stuff, make sure you subscribe to the House of Crypto, my main channel, with the notification bell on over there, where we've been looking more and more in detail into projects that are actually giving real-world utility, actually generating revenues, all that kind of good stuff, okay? That's where you're going to find the alpha on which projects. This is more a kind of a how-to of managing your money through this kind of crypto bull market and beyond. Okay, so what other indicators do we have that tell us that it might be time to take profits? Now, of course, I've already showed you the M2 money supply, which is a really cool indicator, very, very handy. Now, the M2 money supply basically is dictated by the dollar index. I don't want to overcomplicate things, but the dollar index is the US dollar value. As the US dollar has been going down recently, the M2 money supply has been running up. But Bitcoin runs around 82 days behind the M2 money supply, which is this line. So in order to add this is tradingview.com, go to indicators, and I want you to write M2 money shift for Bitcoin, click on that, and then on the daily chart, which is what we're on here, click on the cog and write 82. Okay, this is going to give you this blue line, and it tells you where the Bitcoin price is going. Look, see, over the past few years or so, this has been very closely following along with it. Now you can see where Bitcoin is destined to go, and now you can see why I remain incredibly bullish right now, while a lot of people are still not very sure. So obviously, what we're looking for on this is areas where we're going to see a significant kind of pullback or sideways. Like up here, we see a lot of sideways action sometime from around the 2nd of July into kind of August, it wouldn't shock me to see the crypto market in general having a bit of a slowdown around this point, and we're going to see a bit of a rally into that. So that could be an indicator that it's time to maybe take a little bit of money off the table if our coins have been pumping hard. Now, the next thing to look at is this. Again, we're going to go to coinglass.com and we're going to go to funding rate heat map. Now, remember what I told you about crypto when it goes up. Everybody starts to take bigger and bigger gambles. Instead of just buying a coin, people start to open leverage trades and add more and more money to their position, which obviously the exchanges don't like. Not only that, it makes the price far more vulnerable, because suddenly if everyone's leveraged like 10, 20x, and there's a sell-off for whatever reason, the price will come down and it will liquidate lots of people who've been going long. This will cause the price to come down very sharply and very quickly across all major coins. So how do we know that there's a chance that we're going to see a very big pullback very soon? Well, by using this. Go to the funding rate heat map, slide the color slider to the left, and then select 1 year. Now, we're not going to see a pullback very soon, by the way. I'm just telling you that this is an indicator to tell you when there could be a potential pullback. Look at this. It's all green right now, green-blue. This tells you that across all of these major altcoins and Bitcoin, that no one really is entering into significantly over-leveraged positions. It's getting a tiny bit yellow, but nothing to worry about. If we look at this, however, this is majorly orange, and this is a very good indicator back in December that we were likely to see a turnaround in the markets because everyone was getting very, very bullish, very greedy, and this meant that we saw a big turnaround, and this is pretty much to the day perfect. Okay, so you would have seen that the market was getting a little bit hot as all of these coins were going orange and everyone was betting long on them. Also, if you're looking to trade, don't trade the coins that are getting pretty orange right now. For example, Fartcoin, or down here, ZKJ. This is a very good indicator that maybe you go after the coins that are a little bit more blue, like Trump here, what's this, BCH, and a few others. Okay, so once we start to see this getting really orange, if this happens around the time that the M2 money supply is starting to top out, this is a very good indicator to take some money off the table. You don't have to sell everything. Okay, just take a little bit of money off the table. And if you want trading exchanges to use and you're not sure how to buy different altcoins like Grass or Aether or any other altcoins that I talk about, then make sure you check out Bitunix and also WEEX, both linked down below in the description. Neither of these require KYC, so you don't have to add your details. You can send money to this exchange, make all the trades you want, send the money somewhere else, and it's not recorded. No one knows who did those trades. That might be useful if you're thinking about other benefits you can get from using a non-KYC exchange. And also, if you use my link down below, you'll also qualify for significant bonuses and be able to access a huge range of different altcoins. So make sure you sign up for those two today. If you've already got accounts, I recommend starting a new account with another email address because I've been working with those companies for a very long time and I get some of the best deals available out there in the markets. Okay, so that's another very good indicator. Lots of people going long, lots of people getting a bit too greedy, and also when the M2 money supply tops out. Now, another thing to pay attention to. Sometimes the market's a bit flat and not much is going on. One or two coins will be rallying like crazy, and they tend to do it because of the news around a certain coin. For example, about a few weeks ago, SUI was rallying like crazy because of some expected news that was going to drop during the SUI event at the Dubai Token 2049. As soon as that news comes out, guess what? The next day, the price dumps like crazy. Why does that happen? Why does good news equal price goes down? Well, because all of the people who were behind the scenes, who knew what was going on with SUI, were loading up big time. SUI then pumps on the news, and as soon as the news kind of has reached its maximum hype and excitement, those people who are getting in early start to sell. So if you're rushing in to buy when you see good news, don't. Okay, you should be thinking about potentially taking profits when a coin that you're in sees a massive pump towards the upside because of some positive news. Same thing if you're holding a coin that goes and gets listed on Binance. Chances are the price will pump. As soon as it goes live on Binance, it's like it pops the bubble and it comes back down again. So that's a very good time for you to be taking some profits when something really good and exciting turns up. When everybody's out there telling you that this has just happened, it's amazing news for whatever, and you're in the groups and you're seeing everyone tell you to buy, that's when you start to think to yourself, well, if they're all screaming to buy, who else is left to buy? Maybe it's my time to take some profits and sell a little. Now, it's my anticipation that we're going to have a good, strong rally up until sometime around July, August time. I'll obviously keep you updated with that on the channel over the next few weeks as it sort of plays out into the future. And then we'll have a fairly quiet summer, maybe a bit of a pullback across Bitcoin and a lot of the altcoins, and then a fairly steady recovery through September, October, and then a very aggressive finish to the bull markets sometime into November, December, when everybody is out there screaming to buy Bitcoin, when it's all over the news, when the number one downloaded app on the App Store is CoinMarketCap or Coinbase or Binance or whatever it is. Maybe ask yourself, maybe it's time to get out. Remember, those people are used as exit liquidity. When it's all over the news, when your barber is talking about crypto, when your taxi driver is talking about crypto, these people have only just arrived in the market at that point, and they're going to be the ones who the big money wants to sell to. That's the reason it's pushed onto the news, so that smart money can be getting out. Okay, this happens time and time again. Don't get wrapped up in the excitement, on the hype of bull markets, because most of the stuff, when it's like that, is designed to trap you. You need to get the hell out and protect your profits as best as possible. Right now, the good news is many people are still very skeptical. Lots of people are not even in these markets to ride the wave up. We will start to see hype and excitement returning very soon once Bitcoin hits back towards all-time highs and beyond. Guys, in the next video or two, I will start to talk more about trades and have a look at some long trade opportunities. But right now, I'm still happy to hold the trades that I've got open, and I don't want to become overexposed to various different longs, and I definitely don't want you guys to be overexposed to trades as well. But if you want to continue to learn more about crypto and as well to get into some trades, make sure you're subscribed, notification bell turned on. If you got this far through, then make sure you hit the like button. If you enjoyed the video, just leave a comment down below as well. It really helps me out, driving the algorithm, etc. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you very soon in another one. Bye-bye.